Hello, my name is Dave Eckert. I'm the Vice President of the Tinner Hill Heritage Foundation, and I'm Project Manager of the Tinner Hill Monument. Very honored to present to you this film tonight, filmed by Michael Hamilton of Cable 38. And I'm here at the construction site for the Tinner Hill Monument. I'm sitting on a 1 billion year old rock quarried by Joseph Tinner, first president of the first rural chapter of the NAACP in the country. It was this rock and this type of rock that the Tinner Hill Heritage Foundation chose to use on the Tinner Hill Monument, a 14-foot tall Gothic arch built to commemorate the first rural chapter of the NAACP in the country. We're over on East Columbia Street near North Cherry, and we're at a home that was built around the turn of the century. And when we're looking for rock, we found it out front, and lo and behold, it wasn't from the house itself, but it came from the Jefferson Institute. Mr. Gannon had been here in 1953 when the Jefferson Institute, which is a brick building, was torn down, but the foundation was made of the pink granite. Mr. Gannon got a truck and brought a lot of it over here, used it for stone walls, but also used it to outline property. And since then, most of the property owners have had it grown over with ivy and shrubs and forgotten all about it. And when we discovered it, they said we could have the stone.
My name is Marion Starr. My husband Samuel and I purchased this property at 301 North Cherry Street and decided to renovate it and took down part of the back of the house. In the process of doing that, it was discovered that the foundation was comprised primarily of pink granite. We donated 15 large rocks for their use, and they will use them for the monument, and we're happy that the part of our foundation is going to be used for that purpose.
Oh yeah! 1, 2, 3. All right.
Okay. My name is Frank Bothwell. I've lived in this house since 1962. The house was built in 1914 by stone from the Tinner Quarry. It's the same stone that was used in building the Falls Church Bank. That bank was torn down, I believe, in 1972. And I went over there to see about the stone since it matched my house and I needed some stone. And I was told by the construction manager there that I could have as much as I wanted. All they were doing is carting the stone away and dumping it. So I rented a trailer and came over with my kids. I had 4 sons. And we loaded up as much of that stuff as we could get. Actually, I had much more stone than I needed. So we decided we should get rid of it. And fortunately, Dave Eckert can use it for the monument he's building. So he's over there. He's over here today to get that stone.
Right here we have a great example of the difference between the old work and the new work on the pink granite at the Bothwell house. On the left, what we have here is the same pink granite from the Tinner Quarry, but was worked by Joseph Tinner. On the right is the modern day work in 1972 by Sisslers, and with the Tinner rock still, but was taken from the Falls Church Bank. So we have the 1914 era work and the 1972 work done with the same kind of rock, and you can see where it's weathered on the left and where the new is on the right, and it's the same rock that we're using in the monument.
Go ahead.
Oh, good. My name is Warren. I'm from Alexandria. I love this kind of work. I'm from Cambodia. Well, you know, Doctor.
The Angkor Wat. I have relatives that help build the Angkor Wat, so I'm familiar with this kind of work.
My name is Stanley Clayton, and I stay in Fairfax, Virginia. I love doing this job right here, moving these rocks. It's a little heavy, but it's nice.
Give us a hand on that. He's almost done doing that, right?
Oh yeah, I'm from Tyrone Jefferson. I'm from Alexandria, Virginia. They were telling me about the project we're doing for the NAACP, and I like the way they was doing things out here. And but it pretty much was surprising me. But I felt pretty proud when they told me about it.
The distant pile over there we got immediately from the Presbyterian Church, but that originally came from the Columbia Baptist Church on the corner of Columbia and North Washington Street, which was stone. And when that was torn down, they gave it to the Presbyterian Church, and then the Presbyterian Church gave it to us.
Hi, I'm Tim of Thoroughbred Masonry and Morgan Stoneworks. What you see in the background is the rebar construction, which will provide support for the actual stonework. It's about approximately 14 feet high, I believe, and basically it provides support for the stone.
This rock was collected as the result of the friendship and help of many people throughout the City of Falls Church. The rock was originally quarried by Joseph Tinner between the 1890s, possibly even the 1880s, upwards to the mid-1920s. It was quarried from the Tinner Quarry, where the Falls Church Motel in Pines of Florence now sits, and across the stream from Sisler's Rock. And Joseph Tinner used it to build many buildings, the Falls Church Bank, foundations of many buildings, and arches around the city. Archways were his specialty, which is why we chose the arch. The stone, then, as these buildings either were demolished or left in disrepair, were scattered throughout Falls Church. People picked them up and used them for stone walls and landscaping elements in their yards. We picked up this rock from 26 different locations around Falls Church.
Lodge up the back.
And he brought it over and had a local stone mason add on to the porch, add on to the porch. On the day the first stone was placed, a ceremony with the Tinner family and the Henderson family was held, in addition to members of the board of the Tinner Hill Heritage Foundation. Left hand?
Yeah, put the check in your left hand.
Oh, my check in the left hand. He knows this stuff.
You want to grab hold of the check?
Yeah. Jim, you want to get a piece of the action here? Now don't pull.
First, we want to thank the good Lord for giving Uncle Charlie and Uncle Joe the wisdom and knowledge and time to hew those rocks from the earth. Beautiful rock, and the men who restored it. And we want to thank everyone who helped to make this possible. And again, I think it means so much to us, our family, to be remembered in this way. Something that our ancestors will be able to look at from now on. Thank you.
The monument was built by just 3 people. James Ware is Director of Field Operations for Thoroughbred Masonry and the general contractor of the project. His specialty on this job was cement and mortar construction. He also did most of the sawing of the rocks. Roy Morgan is owner of Morgan Stoneworks and was the stonemason of this project. Roy is a master stonemason and had to plan out where each stone went, how the angles were determined. He had to chip every rock that was there and prepare it and have it ready to be placed. Tim Lee was the stonemason's tender and worked every bit as hard as James and Roy did on this project. Tim was most famous on this project for carrying every piece of rock from the preparation site up to the monument site. Even though we collected over 16 tons of rock from over 20 sites around Falls Church for the monument, it still wasn't enough to have rocks for the plaques. We didn't have rocks that were big enough for the size of the plaques that we had purchased. So Jack and Pat Shockey from the Falls Church Motel were kind enough to let us go into their quarry, the old Tinner quarry that their motel sits on, and we found a few very large rocks that we could extract from the quarry. And Sisler's Rock was kind enough to do that for us. Eddie and Don and Steve Sisler came on back, and these are all expert stonemen.
and extracted the rock from the side of the hill, the first rock to be extracted since, I believe, the 1920s. They then took it back to their site right at the base of the hill and proceeded to cut and grind and chip that stone so that we could put the plaques in them. And we also, two of the plaques, we still didn't have enough rock to put on, so we had to put it on an Indiana limestone, and Eddie Sisler cut that, and then Don mounted the rocks on there. And we're really happy with their work. The design of this monument is all the brainchild of John Ballou, a local Falls Church Public High School art teacher and artist extraordinaire.
You know, when you said, well, here's a gentleman who is well known for his work in arches and worked in local stone, I said, well, wow, I'd love to see one of these things built. I can go show my classes. Here's an example of one and see how strong it is. And so it was kind of opportunistic on my part. So I wanted to make sure that we had one around. But, you know, it was just a napkin sketch. And now it's suddenly turning into reality, and it's so much more glorious and you know, it has a sense of strength than anything that I originally sketched out. It looks great. Arches in particular are a great building innovation. You know, go back to Roman times. You know, when any time large spans had to be covered, and you know, when the whole evolution of structure that allowed greater and greater room space and greater flexibility and using heavy materials like masonry, the arch was vital to the evolution of architecture. And it's just something that always had an inherent beauty in itself. Just the way you're able to take things that weigh this much. I mean, each one of those stones, like you said, weighs up to 300 pounds. You know, how you can make something that's strong and solid and then yet visually light and visually interesting. Those are the kind of things that always attracted people to arches. I mean, there's a whole history of it being used. We don't use it quite as often these days because of the skilled workmanship it takes to be able to work in masonry. My own experience has been working with masons who do fireplaces and walls and whatnot, and I've always respected how beautiful the finished product is. You know, it's a very simple process from one standpoint, but it's a really strong discipline in another. Working with those weights, you know, working with cold chisels and really powerful saws. It's a tough kind of job unless you're equipped for it. And yet, you know, when you look at the finished product, it's, you know, it's as straightforward as it can be. It's, you know, that whole relationship between something that has, you know, just kind of this visual, you know, stability is, to me, one of the things that is, you know, that makes it such an intriguing shape. And since there's so few of them around, that as a monument, it really will stand out. It really has that uniqueness that you're looking for when you want to make something special. It's meant to kind of celebrate the life of, you know, someone who spent their life, you know, as Masons, but were, you know, significant contributors to our political and social development. You know, and I think, you know, the connection there is important, to look at something that has both tradition and skill and strength. You know, I think the qualities that we have here in this particular structure are the kind of thing that NAACP best represents.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet this thing will be here for maybe 1,000 generations.
Are you working on the building? Are you working on the building? Are you working on the building? Yes, Lord, yes, Lord. If I was a preacher, I'll tell you what I do. I quit my way of preaching and work on the building too. You working working on the building? Are you working on the building? Are you working on the building? For my Lord, for my Lord. If I was a sinner, I'd tell you what I'd do. I'd quit my way of sinning and work on the building too. Working on the building. Are you working on the building? Are you working on the building? For my Lord, for my Lord.
Thank God for that, huh? Thank God for small favors. We're close.
See John Henry, my little wave. Name was Paul and leopards that rode John Henry said, I want to be a driving man. I want to be a driving man.
As best we can determine from our research, the Tinner Hill Monument may be the first monument built to honor the NAACP. We believe that it may be the only standalone stone Gothic arch monument in the United States. It's one of the first monuments ever built to a stonemason and to a letter writer on civil rights. We're very proud of this monument. We're proud of the symbolism of this monument, the symbolism of two separate pillars coming together at the top, strengthening each other by coming together, much as E.B. Henderson and Joseph Tinner worked together to strengthen their cause.